Hey everyone, welcome to episode 361, Kids Gossiping About You. Welcome to the Harmony in the Home podcast. I'm your host, Kelly Hutchison. I'm a counselor, a life coach, and most importantly, an imperfect mom doing this work right along with you. And my goal on our podcast is to go from chaos to calm, feel less frazzled, and have more fun within your four walls to have more harmony in your home. You know, I love a sneaky hook. Before we're talking about your kids gossiping about you, I want to talk to you about UGC, which has been so much fun for me. I started it because I wanted a healthy distraction for when Lily leaves our four walls, which is any day now. When this comes out, I believe we will be days away from her leaving for college, which is actually crazy that we're at our 940th Saturday. So I started that as a way to have almost like a hobby for when she's gone, but it's turned into a full-on jobby and a super fun side gig. And if it's fun for me, I think it'll be fun for you. If you like taking things and making them make sense to other people, if you like acting, if you like dressing up like a hiker to talk about a lantern that you can use while hiking and camping, then this is for you. Send me a message and tell me that if you want to do the training or you want me to send you in the right direction of different channels to watch on YouTube and TikTok and ChatGPT. Everything that I'm doing, I learned online, and the training did help because I feel like the training for me helped find different gigs, but I wouldn't start off with the training because I think I would have been too overwhelmed. But it is good for if you're looking for different gigs. They go out and search all the places, the Reddits, the Upworks, the Fiverr, and all the different platforms. There are so many platforms out there that they call them gigs or briefs or campaigns. You can call them whatever you want, but there are so many platforms out there and so many apps. You just have to know what you're looking for, and it's really designed for each person based on what you're looking for. So it's not like, oh, go to this website and do this thing, because I will talk to people in the UGC world and I'm like, I love XYZ app. And they're like, really? I haven't had any luck there. I don't really like it. I love XYZ app. I'm like, oh my gosh, are you serious? That app was so confusing to me and I didn't know what I was doing there. So it's really based on your personality and your niches and what you're interested in and how much or little you want to do it. So send me a message and just say UGC, and then we'll chit chat about it, because I really have nobody to talk to about this. I talked to someone at baseball the other day about it and they looked at me like I had 17 heads. And I'm like, I don't really know how to explain what I'm talking about, but it's so much fun. And they're like, I can tell you're having fun with it. And they kind of pat me on the head like a little puppy dog, like, have fun with your little hobby. And I'm like, no, it's so much more, I wanted to say. But so I have nobody to talk to about it. So if you decide to do it, we can talk about it together. We can talk shop. I don't want everybody to talk shop too. I do miss talking shop when I was working in the schools. I love talking shop. So today we're talking about, this is Milton Luis Gonzalez and his channel. Not really sure what his channel represents, but it's really good. And you're going to love this one. And it's talking about how our kids talk about us every day. And eventually they're going to talk about us and their childhood. They're going to talk about their childhood in the past tense.
I don't know who this is for, but if you're a parent, hear me out for just a minute. You know, one day your child is going to grow up, and inevitably they're going to talk about you. Not to you, but about you. They're going to sit somewhere that you've never been with people that you never knew, and they're going to try to explain what it felt like to be raised in your home. They won't tell the whole story. They'll tell what stayed, the feeling that they carried, the atmosphere they lived in, and the version of you they experienced every day. Did your presence bring peace, or did it generate pressure? Did your voice feel safe or unpredictable? Did your home feel like a refuge or a place where they had to survive? And here's the truth that most people avoid. You don't write that story later. You're writing it right now. In the small moments, in your tone when you're frustrated, in how you respond when you're tired, in what you prioritize when life gets busy, because children don't remember everything, but they'll never forget how it felt to be around you. And long after the noise fades, long after they grow up and move on, that feeling becomes their definition of home. So for me, this is personal. I'm not chasing perfection, but I'm choosing intention. How I show up, how I speak, how I lead my home because one day my child will tell that same story. And I don't want it to sound like tension. I don't want it to echo distance. I want it to carry peace. I want it to reflect the love of Christ. I want it to feel like safety. So no, I won't get everything right, but I will be present. I will be aware, and I will be intentional, because in the end, they won't remember everything I gave them, but they will always remember how I made them feel.
I mean, did he not just take our entire podcast and put it in 2-3 minutes? Thank you, Milton. And of course, it has 313 views. And the comments are so good. Amika says, until you become a parent, you will never understand your parent. Shadow Combo says, how your children feel around you will never be forgotten. Blue says, I quit drinking alcohol mainly for my 3-year-old son. I don't want him to grow up with the trauma of having an alcoholic mom. 108 days sober and counting. Highly Favored says, on another note, it's easy to judge your parents because you are a child, but you start to understand them when you also are a parent. Yes, I did not realize how much they were. I thought it was like all about me and my sisters. I didn't realize they had like jobs and responsibility and insurance and bills. I mean, I know they did, but I didn't realize, I thought they just paid for like the house and electricity. I know all the other stuff, the insurance and the gas and the groceries and then the inflation and all the pressures that we feel as an adult. Our parents were feeling it. And if they didn't have strategies to deal with that, woo doggy. So I just love this perspective because I'm at the end of my 940 Saturdays with one of mine, and the other one has about 150 Saturdays left. And I purposely talk about how many weeks are left in my own brain. Nobody else seems to care in my 4 walls when I mention that number. They're like, yeah, mom's just being weird. But I will tell you, counting the Saturdays has been such a great way for me to stay intentional, knowing that this too shall pass. This is 20% of our life. It's very fleeting. It's a blip on our radar, all the things. And not necessarily that you have to count the weeks like I did, but have something that helps you stay present, that none of it really matters when all of it really matters. And on a whole, you want to think about, I did a podcast many, many moons ago. I cannot believe we're at episode 360. It was called Strainer Parenting. And I was talking about how your life and the time you spend with your children is like putting everything into a strainer, and they're not going to remember what they got for Christmas or if they were late to that baseball game. They're going to remember the energy. When I talk to students that I used to have, and they're now in their 30s, which is insane. And I was like, what do you remember? And they remembered the Love Cup and they remember Curious George. And why do they remember those two things? They remember those two things because those are so emotionally impactful. They took home Curious George every weekend. One of them did. And then they write in the story and all the adventures that they went on. And then the next weekend, someone else would bring home Curious George. They remember Curious George and they remember the Love Cup. Out of all the things, I had thousands of students. If I were to ask 100 students, 100 of them would say the Love Cup and Curious George. And I would say the Love Cup comes first. I get that most often. I would say 60% say Love Cup and then 40% say Curious George. They usually say both, but what they say first usually matters and is the most impactful, because those emotions are something they will never forget. Just like where you were when you found out that XYZ trauma happened, when the Challenger exploded or 9/11 happened. You know exactly the moment where you were. Those are such extreme examples of highly emotionally charged moments. But when we emotionally charge every single day in our 4 walls of love and kindness and softness and gentleness and soft place to fall and being the flight attendant in their rocky worlds, we want to make their home like a place that they come home to relax and recover. So then they bring that energy out into the world. But if their 4 walls is filled with tension and anger and silence and pouting and aggression and yelling and screaming, that is what they're going to take out into their 4 walls. That's what they're going to remember. That's also emotion. Emotions are emotions, highly charged or the soft, gentle marshmallow vibes. So we get to choose every single day. And that's why I always try to tell you, pretend that you're on a reality TV show, count the Saturdays. This is a blip on our radar. All these things are just different mantras for you to try to see which one works for you. Just because counting 940 Saturdays doesn't work for you doesn't mean you can't find something else to substitute that to help you stay intentional, to help you stay conscious, to help you stay in the way that you want them to talk about you. And the way that you want them to talk about you, write down those adjectives. Pick 3, pick 2, pick 1 that you want them to gossip about you when they get older, when they're sitting at a brunch and I said, where'd you grow up? What were your parents like? When they tell their story and retell their story, whether it's to their significant other or their friends or their girlfriends, or they're talking to their brother or sister, when they're retelling that story, what top 3 things do you want them to talk about? Not things, but top 3 emotions. So whatever those 3 things are, write those down and then become those every single day. Make sure every day is filled with 90% of that. That's a good way of intentionalizing it and being conscious. That 90% of your day, let's do 85%. That's the B- that we're talking about. It doesn't have to be every single minute, every single day, but overall, what is going to slip through the strainer? And the rest is the good stuff. You want the good stuff to stay up top. If I were to think about my 3 adjectives, it would be happy, relaxed, and chill. I know relaxed and chilled are kind of the same thing, but I want them to remember their parents as being chill, and that the energy within the 4 walls was relaxed or Christ-centered or God-centered. That's why I play Christian music constantly on the surround sound. It's setting the energy, it's setting intention, it settles in their bones and becomes who they are, and then they go replicate it. And selfishly, I want them to go replicate that. I want them to find daughter-in-laws and son-in-laws and have kids, and that's not filled with chaos and yelling and screaming. I want calmness. I want calm in-laws. I want calm grandchildren. So the best way that I can do that is make sure that I raise my children so they are drawn towards that. That becomes the norm. That is the default. That is the template in which they are working from. And it's much more fun to live in that environment for you and for them, because everybody's having a lot more harmony in the home. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye. Hey mamas, thanks for listening. If you had any ahas, clicks, or those lightning bolt moments while listening, you have to check out my free parenting bootcamp, where we take all of this to the next level and we try to create even more awakenings for ourselves so that we can connect more with our kids and never yell at them again. You can sign up at www.coachingkelly.com. And if you really want to fill up my love cup, send me an email of what your aha was, what your click was, what was that lightning bolt moment while you were listening. I want nothing more in life than for you to have harmony in your home and to learn how to be an imperfect mom like me, which allows your kids to be imperfect too, each and every day. Thanks for listening.